Let's launch a probe into it.
Good evening and welcome to Locators of the Trek. We are doing the Class L Probe edition tonight, guys. I'm Adam Woodward, and I've got Dave and Gavin with me, aka Plain Simple Tailors. Hey, guys, how long have we been doing this now? I think it's like 3 years.
3 years.
Something like that, yeah.
I was looking back at our first ones, and it said 3 years ago on YouTube.
Yeah,
so
I was trying
give
to
or
figure
take a little more, even potentially.
Probably a little more, because I think it came from we were doing a trivial debate or a
debate 9 or something.
Debate
no,
9.
was it?
Yes, it was debate 9.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, against the three of us, like we were the contestants. Yeah.
And I got frustrated with the fact that we couldn't talk about the subject. If you remember, I just wanted to talk about it.
Why do we have to fight about these things?
That's
like,
right.
Why can't we just talk about it? Yeah, I agree.
That's right.
So Class L Probe was born.
Class L Probe was born. Your great idea. We had 20 minutes of 3 topics, and everybody picked something to we've had some, I think, excellent conversations over the years based on this.
Oh, I agree.
And probably almost some of my most fun moments on the channels here. So thanks, guys. Let's get into it tonight. I picked that Dave will be going first tonight. So Dave, or Davin, can you bring up Dave's topic and we'll launch that?
I surely can.
Is it wrong for Starfleet to put an officer in danger based on a species trait? Now, I can't accurately recall the debate we had about this at first.
I can't.
Do you remember anything, Gavin? Oh, great.
Yes, because it was one I came up with. So I was watching the Siege of AR 558. And I felt like it was crazy wartime situation, granted, but I felt it was a little much for Cisco to send a Cadet Nog, on this crazy recon mission with just 2 other senior officers to go find the Jem'Hadar, and because they needed his ears, and had it not been for his ears, they would have 100% sent somebody else. So
this makes sense.
That's what made me think of this question.
This question makes sense to me now. I was dying to figure out what we're going to be talking about. So now we got it.
Yeah, it seemed like a bit. So it was like that. Okay, so it's like anytime you need ears, you could the Ferengi in Starfleet is screwed kind of thing. That's what.
Or if you need a telepath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. So this is a super gnarly question in some ways for me, because it almost is though it cuts across a notion of or sort of modern ethics into this kind of idea of almost a golden mean, right? Aristotle was famous for his ethical theory being about defect, excess, and then a kind of golden mean through the middle, right? And this almost seems to describe something like that. We neither would put someone who had some severe physical incapacity in a situation and send them to go do it, but neither should we choose someone who has a supreme physical capacity to do said task to do it. Do we have to have some sort of bona fide operating parameters for Starfleet officers that exist independent of species, or is there some way to substantiate the uniqueness of those different life forms inside Starfleet in a way that doesn't just single them out for being, getting the short end of the stick in various kinds of situations?
Based on what you just said there, I think we should kind of parse, just like you said, someone who's
sorry, I blarped a paragraph there.
I was just saying there's a difference, I think, between somebody becoming through practice and training just really good at a specific thing, and then you have to send them on the mission, than a species trait. I don't think you were trying to distinguish between those two, but I just wanted to clarify.
It's an interesting distinction to bring in, though. Right. If this is something somebody's trained for,
like if you're the best recon guy, then you go on the recon mission, right?
Sure.
And I think everyone's
if you're
okay
like the
with
Ferengi, if you're like the Ferengi cargo clerk who happens to be here, is it really fair? And this is a fascinating question because it calls into mind all sorts of like military historical situations where people who are not by any stretch of the imagination, lined up for that particular position, nevertheless get called upon or get often by the situation more than their superiors in this kind of story to rise to some kind of crazy occasion, right? And now I've lost his name, the most decorated American.
Audie Murphy.
World War II. Audie Murphy, exactly. Has in some of these characteristics in his own story in some situations, right? Other than being just apparently naturally gifted at soldiering.
Or luck.
Yes, also true. Yeah.
Or sometimes crazy. Look up the Canadian World War II guy. I think it was World War II, Leo Major. Sometimes you just got to be crazier than the other guy. But
sure. I mean that's the history of the Devil's Brigade right there, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Who have a very proud history of particularly fighting the Italian fascists. But yeah, you think I wonder about
care for a tail
situations, right? Because we all know and love the fact that in the Star Trek technical manual for the Enterprise D, there is a section, I forget, I think it's on deck 11, but somebody will probably correct me in the comments. I'm sure somebody
I can grab the tech manual if you like.
If you want. But Cetacean Ops is in there, right?
Oh, for sure.
And Cetacean Ops may be a classic case for this because
that is interesting.
They're marine mammals. Yet they have a place on most Federation starships. We don't see them on a wager. One suspects this is because it's difficult to film dolphins in Starfleet uniforms.
But I also think they showed up in Prodigy, didn't they?
I think they did, yes.
Lower decks.
Lower decks.
Oh, lower decks. Okay. Yeah.
But they're not being put in danger either. They're being put to a specific task based on their species trait, but they're not being put in like a dangerous situation. Like I think that's different too. Like if you have like if you were like, remember that time they had, I think it was Nog, like listening for like clicks on the like sensor clicks, like that makes sense. But like, I think where it's different is if you're like putting him into danger.
I think
that's fascinating. Go ahead.
Look,
Adam, sorry.
I think we've all been hired in jobs over the years for skills or things we might bring, or now whether it's a species trait, probably not, but it's a skill. Mm-hmm. So if I came with super hearing or super strength or something different that, like, I mean, what about Deanna Troi in this aspect? Like, is she ever put in danger? Of course she is. Because she has the ability to, what's the word she does? I don't know. It's not telepathy. I can't remember.
She's empathic. Yeah.
Thank you. Empathic.
Empathic. Yeah.
Right. So I think it behooves a captain to use the strengths of his crew or her crew. And if it helps the mission and go at it, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. So they got super hearing. They've got, yes, we need this on this mission. You're going to go.
And I suppose in some ways it depends on the parameters that are already in place, right? This reminded me of another fellow that years ago when I was out in a different work situation, I got to know, and he was a veteran of the Second World War, and he was put in danger routinely in a weird fashion because he, among a certain percentage of people, has excellent night sight. He can basically see in the dark.
I can too.
Not
I'm
perfectly like daytime, right? Like some people just have a tremendous ability for night vision. So
that sucks on a sunny day, though.
I imagine it does. So his job ended up being he was a teetotaler, so he never drank. So he ended up getting a job with another fella who also had good night vision and was a teetotaler to drive a Jeep all over Allied areas in the middle of the night with the headlights off. And by this point in the story, when this guy had told me this, I was like, go on. So I was like,
Dang,
why
I
are
like
you
Jeep
doing
too.
this?
I would have been one of these Jeep men back then. God
Right?
damn.
And I'm like, so you're some kind of crazy commando. What do you do? You like wave out. He's like, they were taking film canisters all over the place because this is what he had transitioned into during occupation periods. But because you're not just going to send somebody around who's going to get shot at in the middle of the night, he ends up driving entertainment materials all over the front lines in the middle of the night with the headlights off.
It was all
But a
entertainment
certain way,
materials.
they're putting him in danger, but it's a calibrated danger, right? That they feel he's going to have an exceptional ability to survive. And does that bear back on AR-558?
Yes, I think it does, because it's like, does sending Nog give everybody else a better chance of survival? It did. He found them. He found the.
I mean, mind you, that guy had been at war for 6 years, and Nog is a cadet still. And I think that point still obtains in your original argument. That's a hard spot.
It's hard to send a cadet into danger in any.
This is where Cisco didn't have a problem with any of that. Like
no,
he's the wartime captain, man. He gets the job done.
Yeah, I think I think he was exceptionally good at taking a frank appraisal of the correlation of forces in play. You know,
I mean, do you
when
remember
you have that many Jem'Hadar out there? Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, Picard sending, oh my gosh, the ensign that was in lower decks.
Oh, Ensign Sito.
Sito, thank you.
Sito Jaxa.
Because she had a particular skill to go. She would. Hey, she was Bajoran.
Not even a skill, literally just being of that species. So it's not even so much a species trait as just being a member of a species.
That's right. So, and she lost her leg.
It's even worse.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think I think a captain does what he needs to do, and in order to he's like, I think the
should we point out that in both our examples it doesn't work out so well for the cadet.
No, it never does.
Not at all.
So that's something to keep in mind as well. The track record's not great on these decisions.
Yeah. Like, I mean, in some ways, we've sort of described a classic old philosophical argument, which is called a Sorites argument. And the basic question is just, how big is a heap? How many things make a heap? How big is a heap?
A heap.
How do you define a heap? Is it like one thing on top of another, 4 things on top of another, 18 things on top of another? Right? There's this question, and classically it's put as the Sorites heap argument. In more modern terms, say it could be described under the logic of quantity into quality. When does one thing become something else? Right? Like, when does water become boiling water once you've added heat? When does this question of risk, or this question of an appropriate scaling of what we think you should be able to do and excel at, given, say, in this situation, you have a species who have radically different abilities than each other, physically or otherwise. When does that become actually a breach of your command rate, or when does it become an act of exploitation or reckless endangerment or neglect, or one of those things, right?
See,
that's a good point. Go ahead.
In both of these cases, like, I cannot believe that the mighty Starfleet can't. Well, they can. Number one, they could have, put prosthetics on somebody else who with more experience in the Sito case, and you can't tell me, like, there's not a. Like,
I never thought of that. That's a good friggin' point.
But and then on the Cisco case, like, there's nothing else they can do to enhance hearing. Come on, I don't believe it.
They're pretty. Yeah, I mean,
so
the problem is, like, they were bare bones at AR-558. They were pretty bare bones. Also, the Defiant is pretty bare bones. It's not like Cisco arrives on the Enterprise.
That's true too.
That's a good point. They don't really have so much of a science.
They don't have a science thing. They don't barely have a medical bay. Like, Julian's like, this is pretty sad. Like, this is a pretty sad little medical bay I got down here. But
it's
like an RV with missiles and armor.
But I think that as a leader, and we're going to talk more about leader when we get to leadership when we talk about Jellico.
Oh, sure.
But Picard could have, in this case, sorry, I'm going to go back to him, but he could have gone the easy route and put somebody within prosthetics, but they may have found that out.
Yeah, exactly.
So what did he do? He went with the sure thing, naturalized Bajoran, even though she doesn't have the experience, and she died because of her species.
I do think when you compare those two situations, though, I think Sisko was more confident that Nog would get back unscathed than Picard was in that situation. Like when you go watch that episode, you get the feeling Picard's pretty sure she's screwed. Like he was not confident in this plan. Nobody was. Everyone was just like, this is not going to go well. Whereas, like, I'm pretty sure he thought he could send out a Ferengi who could hear from far enough away that they could come scamper back. But like, so there's, it's all about how you assess the risk as well.
Well, and I wonder about the disposition of the two captains. As I recall, Picard has no love lost for Sito.
No, the other way around.
His appraisal of Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of somebody else.
He wanted to be the one who forgave her and gave her a shot.
That's right.
So it's like it's the extra tragic
or something like that. That Bolian girl, not that Bolian guy. But you're right. Okay. Sorry, I was mixing.
Don't get me started on Bolians.
They're caustic bodily fluids.
Fool me once,
whether the disposition toward the individual person makes it harder to make that decision as well.
Yeah.
But it comes back down to me is like, I don't really think that it's a moral quandary. I really don't. I think as a leader, you need to take stock of what you have at your disposal and take advantage of it to win or complete a mission. However, we talked about this before. I think maybe the last time we were up, we were talking about how a captain or whatever sends people into a situation to die, and I think that form of leadership to get there in your mind that these people are people. I do care about them. However, we got to finish, and we're sending people to die. That to me is I have a challenge with it. I think I would have a real challenge with that.
That requires a distinct psychology. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's why obviously they probably are trained the hell out of them to get there, where they don't have that.
Well, I suppose in that sense, no wonder they put them through the Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
When it's all down, what are you actually going to do here?
Here's one thing I want to add to this debate. Well, because you were saying, Adam, that it's just like if somebody. Well, I guess we've sort of all been hinting at it, but like if you're the best at something, or like it's the best for the team, then that person, regardless of whatever, should be the one to do it or whatever. But like, so how is it not in TNG whenever they encounter a threat? Why does Riker always go, Mr. Worf, take care of this? Why is it not Data every single time? Why isn't it not Data that has to encounter the threat first, because he has the least chance of being injured or, something going wrong?
Sure. Like, because there's only one in Data.
Well, fair point.
Well, and you know what?
But it's like he's better at everything, so shouldn't he do everything? Like based on this argument, like his species trait is he's the best at everything.
That's true. Other than telling jokes. But he'll learn. But it takes me actually to a different place. It takes me to Spock putting his hand against that glass window at the end of Star Trek II, right? That's a moment where I think we actually get to Starfleet's considered opinion on this, which is the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. And I think fundamentally that's like, I think we've just constructed how Starfleet builds that ethical framework.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is
that's a great way to end this one. Honestly, you can't go any further.
Yeah, I think we just ended this one. So, fellas, is it wrong for Starfleet to put an officer in danger based on a species trait?
Absolutely not.
I think my answer is we have reinvented the sci-fi wheel. No, I think again it's got to depend on the correlation of forces involved or the question involved. There probably are points where it's wrong, and there are probably points when it's entirely right to do it. Would be my consider. It depends. Would be my answer there actually.
Yeah, I mean, I'm somewhere between both of your answers there. I mean, it depends, but if I had to generalize, I would side with what Adam said there.
I think
because based on what you said, Dave, if we're talking about Starfleet here, so in the Starfleet ethos is the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So it's like it almost doesn't matter who the individual is. If the captain generally in the situation thinks this is the best plan, then it's the plan. But again, that brings up my question again: why doesn't Data do everything?
I mean, you might ask that question just about the Enterprise in general. Why doesn't Data?
Why does the Enterprise do everything? Because it can't be everywhere at once, and neither
why
can
does
Data.
Why does the Enterprise have a crew if Data's there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in first season of Picard takes an interesting look at that. What would happen if we were able to build a cylinder?
Well, we forgot to launch the first probe, but you know why?
Oh my goodness.
We should destroy the probe.
Slipping it by Worf.
Yeah, slipping it by Worf. All right, let's launch the probe this time, though, shall we? All right. Was Starfleet the true aggressor of the Dominion War? This was my pick. And
I'm very curious to see where you.
I'm so curious.
Well, look, here's where I feel like the reason I haven't picked this in past, because I've danced around picking this one in past Class L probes, and the reason I don't, because I'm like, well, the obvious answer is no, because by the end of the war, I mean, it's just a shit ton of troops from the Gamma Quadrant in the Alpha Quadrant and Beta Quadrant, so it looks more like an invasion the other way. But so with this one, I'm trying to put my myself in the shoes of I don't even know if they wear shoes. They probably don't. The founders.
In the puddle of the founders.
In the puddle. I'm trying to put myself in the sleep can of
steep yourself in it. Immerse yourself.
Yeah. In the sweet, sweet ocean of foundering, or whatever it is.
That's right.
So the first question I would ask is, would the founders and the Jem'Hadar Dominion, I guess it's just, you can just say Dominion, because it's all just the founders anyway, I guess. Would they have reacted so strongly if anyone passed through that wormhole? Or was it that they looked at who passed through that wormhole, saw it was the Federation, looked into the Federation, found that they're incredibly expansionist. Like, they don't know the details of this expansion, it being like a voluntary thing. But, voluntary, they still
But that they've expanded enormously.
They still put a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a very short time. Yeah.
And then the second question I would ask if you're the founders is, if you asked, there's a point in DS9 where they say, I forget who says it, that if you just ask us to go away, we'll go away, or something like that. But if you were the founders, and do you think, and would you even believe it with things like rogue admirals that do what they want, Section 31, if you told the Federation that you didn't want them in the Gamma Quadrant, do you actually believe that they would listen? So those are the two questions I would ask from the founders' perspective. Or not so much the first one.
Given 10,000
they are incredibly expansionist. But
they expand rapidly, whether that's by military expansionism or whatever. You're absolutely right. I mean, they just come to cover a huge amount of space very quickly. I mean, for the founders, I wonder also whether this is just how they do when they meet yet another super advanced group of monoforms.
Shut it down.
They've been doing this for 2,000 years inside the Dominion. They've been doing this for 10,000 years otherwise, at least, right?
Yeah, there had to be other big Gamma Quadrant powers at some point. You'd think.
Right? I mean, this may simply be how the Dominion moves because they know what happens when you don't deal with solids this way. And so in that sense, I could see how the Dominion could construe the Federation right off the bat as an immediate danger for which we have protocols or we know what to do with this. There's no, like, they're going to tell you they're not going to come, and then their little ships will come through in dribs or drabs, some other species that's not them, and they'll say, well, we don't have any control over them. We're doing this part. They know, they've heard this story 1,000 times, I suspect. And they know what to do with solids. That would be the way I'd construe it at any rate. I don't know, but
it reminds me of that Discovery line where it's just like, we come in peace, and like Vogue yells, not Vogue, I forget his name, but he's just like, no, they don't. Like, no, they don't. Like, but I mean, it's so, I don't know. I would almost, what do you think, Adam?
So I went exactly where you start. I mean, I went back to episode 1, Deep Space Nine. What are they doing there? Why are they controlling the wormhole? Right? Because it's political, it's economic.
Yep.
And
expansionist.
And, wow.
They want the shortcut to more space.
All you need to do is ask for Federation, protection or whatever it is, be a member of the Federation, and you're in.
That's it. Like the Dominion needs to just fear one.
One planet deciding.
One planet that wants to break away from them and join the Federation, and then all of a sudden the Federation is their biggest problem forever.
And that's every time a trade vessel comes through, not just a Defiant or a runabout or whatever, right? That's Quark. Maybe Quark is the actual aggressor of the Dominion War.
It could be anybody.
But he comes on a Federation ship.
Yeah.
Sorry, Adam.
So, I mean, that's what I come through is like, I would be very worried if I was those guys because, you've got now a very big major power on the other end of that wormhole that's stable. They know when it's going to open and can come through at any time and do what they want, essentially, without some checks and balances. Now, did the Dominion need to start a war? Maybe not. Maybe they could have talked
But don't they? What would they do? What could possibly stop the Federation from doing what they want to do? Like, I think the founders would be more comfortable if it was the Romulans or the Klingons that came through the wormhole, because it's the nature of how the Federation does things. It's like you said, Dave. One call for help. Like the Romulans would just say, "Not our business." The Klingons would just say, "Not our business." The Federation won't.
Federation will pack root beer, man.
Yeah. They will pack a ton of root beer and ship it to the Dominion, and Quark will make a tidy profit off.
I mean, it's one of the most incisive comments that, in that sense, Quark makes, but that DS9 makes about how the Federation operates. Right? It's, and in some way, it's a wonderful
Insidious
of that period of how Star Trek, I think, and how people and we in general were thinking about. What would you call it in this world? Spreading democracy, right? Essentially a kind of neoliberal economic program disguising itself as an egalitarian procedure, right? But it's socialism for the inside and maybe not for the outside. And it's an interesting criticism, do they become victims of their own success that way in terms of just like rolling out the red carpet to everybody they meet? Or do other people become victims of the Federation's success?
So,
well, I mean, look, when you break it down like that, they are a huge threat, like a huge threat to anybody who doesn't want to follow what they want to do.
And especially with the founders being obsessed with order, like they're such a huge threat to their order.
So,
yeah.
I mean, and then you think about other, like the Section 31s and what's going on there. Like there's insidious parts of Starfleet, but part of Federation that are not very Starfleet or Federation-like either.
Or even just hardliners, like just hardline Starfleet, like types.
Admiral
like,
Cartwright.
You don't think? Yeah, or like Nechayev. You don't think Nechayev wants to go strolling into the Gamma Quadrant? Of course she does. Like,
she's just
for
finished
Starfleet reasons. But
yeah,
like, if
I mean,
I
you think
changed
about what
one word
Section
in this,
31 did within 18 months of getting a hold of their DNA or their genetic material, right? Of founder genetic material. They had already developed a plague that
genetic
would
warfare already.
Completely genocide the species.
Yeah, like exactly. So, like, wow, that's a good point.
Yeah, maybe it's not even
that wasn't Section
Starfleet
31. That was Starfleet intelligence that did that. So,
oh, that's true. That's true.
Wasn't it?
That wasn't in Section 31.
Or was it? No, it was Starfleet. Or was it Section 31? Actually, I might be wrong about that. So,
it
but
might
if
have
I
been
were to-
31 inside what intelligence was doing.
Yeah.
Because there's a great scene between Admiral What's His Face and Bashir.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, Admiral Ross.
That revolves around that. Admiral Ross, that's right.
He's like,
yeah,
why are you working for Section 31? And Ross is like, I don't. He's just like, so what? You just like help them on the side or whatever? He's just like, something like that.
I'm just an asset. I'm not an operative. Come on.
Basically, we just see common ground here on this particular thing. But if I were to change one word in this, I think we'd all agree. Was Starfleet the true instigator of the Dominion War? I feel like we might all agree that they were. What do you think?
I would agree with that because I have a problem with the word aggressor as well. I don't think that they saw themselves as an aggressor. They just are protecting everybody. You know,
and then
it's almost a manifest destiny thing they have going on. They just need to spread out.
And then it's just like who became more aggressive in the conflict. It was kind of the Dominion. They went full invasion by then, and they're like, "We're taking everything now." Like, but
I mean, there's lots of moments in DS9 where, like, if you wanted, that would be an interesting discussion to have. Look at the whole progress of the Dominion War as a series of either controlled or uncontrolled escalations.
Oh,
right?
That would be.
I mean, part of the question is who actually, in any moment of the war, has escalatory dominance. Most of the time, it's the Dominion, right? They've either got their ships at the start, or they bring the Breen on board, or something. But it does make Starfleet desperate.
The Federation bring on the Klingons. That's saucy.
Well, and the Romulans in the sauciest way possible.
But I think like any of these big battles and through our world, if you just go that bridge further, you probably could take care of this battle at the beginning, or the war at the beginning of the war. You know, there just wasn't enough. Like the Dominion should have taken and shut it down. But you know, it seems like they held back, and we got a full 7 years out of Deep Space Nine because of it. But
yeah. Well, that makes me wonder whether they didn't see the same possibilities in the wormhole that the Federation did.
Yeah.
You know, they say, well, I mean, of course the Federation is going to use it this way because obviously one would use it in this fashion.
Yeah. See, there's a question actually in Star Trek lore and the history of Star Trek. Like, were they even really involved in Bajor and the Cardassian War prior, like, or the occupation, or was it the wormhole that brought them there?
No,
they get involved with Bajor toward the end of the Cardassian border wars because it, I think, is a politically
humanitarian
topic for Starfleet.
Yeah. It was the call to the Federation for help.
Yeah, and it gives the Federation an access into that area, right? Which is other than just a military access. When the conflict is trying to settle down. Yeah. I mean, the other question, though, of course, is that there's another piece in this that may flip this on its head, which is that, and that piece is the Herc. Because if you remember, right at the beginning of when the Klingons get into space, this enemy, the Outsiders, the Herc, show up. They do tremendous damage to Kronos, and then the Klingons chase them all the way back through space to their home planet. And it has been suggested in some places that the Herc came from the Gamma Quadrant.
True.
Which could mean that either the Dominion knew about the wormhole because they chased the Herc through it, or the Herc were going through it to leave,
or the Dominion
sent them
are
in
the
place.
Herc, or the Dominion
Precisely.
are the Herc. Yeah.
That's the other possibility. Yeah, and that
So
somehow, yeah, at an earlier stage of their development of the Jem'Hadar, that sort of thing, right?
Because we don't get a description of the Herc, really. I don't even know that the Klingons have one. It was so long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they don't really have a whole lot of accurate records, and I think they're they don't tend to be great for accurate record keeping either.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sense.
I know what color they bleed. But I didn't look at his face.
That's right.
Oh well.
Okay,
but yeah, so there may be a deeper context in which this is one of a series of probes of the Alpha Quadrant and Beta Quadrant.
I can almost see two sides of this one, but if we had to ask, was Starfleet the true aggressor of the Dominion War?
I think that they were not the aggressor, but they certainly were. As I think the word is instigator. You're not going to not go through a wormhole once you've got control of it. Like once you start showing up and driving around, the Gamma Quadrant, there's going to be some questions. Who are these guys? I don't like what they do. Back off a bit. So, look, the Federation and the Starfleet needed to do what they needed to do to be part of, or to be that, to watch over that wormhole and then Bajor. So, whether it was an intention or not, it certainly became the catalyst.
Yeah. I think my short answer is no, they're not the true aggressor of the Dominion War. But yeah, again, I think I can see how the Dominion develops its perspective pretty clearly. It's one of the things Deep Space Nine does best is communicate their sense of how this all actually works, as opposed to just making them some sort of like mustache twirling villain,
I'm sure you guys can hear that dryer pounding behind me, but I'm going to answer anyway.
No.
Oh, good. This new mic's working awesome. It is that word aggressor that's the problem. And I think if you look at, it's like you were saying, Dave, it'd be nice to look at different points of the war and who's doing what and kind of break it down that way. But I would say at any point, who would be more willing to de-escalate as opposed to escalate the situation? And it just seemed like once the founders decided that the Federation were a threat, there was no entertaining de-escalation. They're just now we have to destroy the solids. That seems to ring the word aggressor a little more true. I think.
Yeah, and that's just, I think the Federation ran into people who knew what their move was when this situation cropped up.
Yeah.
In that sense. I mean, and like the Federation often does, hey guys, how you doing? Oh God, you shot me in the face. Which is a classic Federation move as well.
You can also put a lump of ice cream into this root beer. We can try that as well.
Here's sarsaparilla for you. That's right.
Have you ever heard of Risa? We have a lot of good things here in the Federation. You'll love it. Icoberry torts, delicious. All right. Well, should we launch another probe then, gentlemen?
Let's go.
Let's fire it up.
Okay, so this is me. Was it wrong for Captain Jellico to remove Commander Riker for insubordination? So, guys, this is the captain we love to hate. And you know what's funny about Ronnie Cox, who played him? He in Total Recall, he played the same guy, and in
that is true.
RoboCop, he played Dick Jones, the same guy.
Stargate too.
Yeah,
he played this senator that was the same, Kinsey.
And I haven't seen the Prodigy episode that he's in, but I'm going to go watch it because I'd love to see how it's portrayed. But he's
pretty Jellico in it. It's pretty great.
Admiral Jellico at this point, right? So here's my take on Jellico. I think that he probably, in his own command, after building a crew who's used to him and understands his style, is probably a very good captain. However, in the way, first of all, I don't envy him because he comes into he's following Picard, number one. You're following the greatest captain ever Starfleet ever produced. And he's on the ship. He hasn't even left. So remember, Picard at this point, when Jellico's in charge, he's actually training on the Enterprise.
Oh, that's
in the
right.
holodeck. So it's really
so
hard.
Everyone goes to cry to him constantly.
Exactly.
Like yeah, exactly.
It's not good when you, like, in anything, if you've ever followed somebody into a company or another job, I have, and that person just doesn't leave yet. It's, oh God, like, when are you going to go? Let me take over. Because it's hard, when they're around. Now, changing shifts and doing, like, they're on the precipice of war. Like, they've got a major thing going on here, the Enterprise. And this is where I find he made too many changes too quickly. Right? So you have a very strong second in command in Riker. And he
Adam, may I interject 1 second?
Not yet.
Okay, go ahead.
He never gave him Jellico never gave Riker the let me just think of the ability or the time to show him that he can be a very good support from. Everything was a conflict. Changed, down to 4 shifts a day. That's a major change.
But did Jellico have the time?
Well, then why was he changing?
This whole thing happens in like 3 days or like less, maybe like
a week, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's one of the challenges of this stuff. I've been in a lot of positions, given the line of work I'm in, where when you come in, often the other person is already gone, but they leave this kind of archaeological stratum of how we do things behind them, right? And you can get a bunch of those that pile up. And part of the trick that I was always told in this is, for the first year, basically just listen. Figure out what they do, how they do things. If there's something crying that's desperate, then address it. But basically just figure out what the people's thing is and then run with it. And that time scale can change depending on what you are. I'm in a certain line of work where, I'm not like trying to get widget production up or something. So like, that's not my main concern. And Jellico's more like a widget production scenario, right? Like we have to get this stuff done right now. But I do think that what he does do is attempt to impress his style so strongly because of the extreme discomfort of the situation that he ends up, in a certain sense, provoking Riker. And once he's seen that Riker gets provoked, he's like, fine, I'm taking you to the limit. And that's what Jellico does with him. And as soon as he can get Riker to a limit where Riker will either follow what he's going to say or be insubordinate, Jellico's like, great, you're out. And I think it appeals exactly to what Davin was saying.
He wanted him out. He made
Jellico doesn't have the time to fool around, but he also doesn't have the administrative skills to not just basically knee everybody in the groin consistently as an immediate tactic, right? He comes into like a Nixonian crazy man.
He tried to delegate that responsibility to Deanna, though. He's just like, make sure all this shit goes smoothly that I'm gonna do here.
Well, yeah, one thing that I
it's not that he's not. It's not that he's not a good read, right? Like, he's canny about relationships. He's just completely ruthless.
I think he would be, like I said, like
better in adversarial relationships.
If on his own ship where he's established the rules of engagement, it probably works. But to come in, and
he's probably lovely.
Like the one thing that I found very strange that he did was moving 3 shifts to 4. Like, just think about in one day, like that.
Like, what does it matter? Like, what does it matter? Just because he's used to like referring to 4 shifts, like, why does that
Right.
even matter?
And is that? I don't exactly recall right now when that is. That right off the bat when he comes
Right
on
off the
board?
bat.
Yeah,
This is
right in
Right.
10
That's
forward.
not something that somebody complains and then he's like, "Oh, we're going to 4 shifts." He comes aboard and he's like, "This is the new plan of action."
Yeah, he's like, we're going to 4 shifts.
Yeah.
And Riker immediately is like, we're not doing that. He doesn't really listen to that at all.
But it's not even the captain's prerogative, really. If you look at the operations of the ship, it's the first officer who handles
that's
all
Riker's
of
job.
So,
Fair enough.
in fact, when you guys, one of you mentioned earlier that he actually took on Riker, he took on Riker right then because he was questioning how he operates his shifts and his department heads and everything. Like, but we talk about disruption. My God, I don't care what you're in.
For me, it's like at what side does this kind of pendulum swing on? So it's like, or like, where does this pendulum land in the middle? So there's like, you have Jellico, who is tasked by Starfleet to accomplish this very hard task in like a week. And there's only one way he knows how to do that, and all the responsibilities on him if it fails, like all the blame. Right. And on the opposite side of that, so there's a reason why he wants everything his way, because he's just like under a ton of pressure. And it's a hard mission, and he just wants it to be as comfortable for him as possible to do his job the best. But where does that meet up against? You still need your crew to be the best version of themselves. Like it's like, where does the best version of himself that he needs to be meet the best version of the crew that he now captains, and where those two things conflict? Because like there's a middle ground there where neither of them are going to get exactly what they want, the crew and the captain. But like, what's the more important?
But you can actually make that live. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Is it more important
I really like
Jellico to be comfortable or the crew to be comfortable in that moment?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, who needs to be more adaptable, I suppose? Who needs to be more able to learn?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a hard question to answer. Like, I'm trying to think of right now how I
man.
feel about that question. But
I mean, we're really digging deeply this evening into what it means to be a Starfleet captain. You're choosing when people are living and dying.
And the reasons.
You have this sort of automatic weight that can't help but be affecting everything around it in a Starfleet situation. And at the same time, you may well be, I'm putting this back in the situation of like, is Jellico the Dominion when he shows up aboard that ship? Or is he Starfleet coming through the wormhole, right? You may well be walking into a situation where you're just kicking and hornets' nests.
Well, I think actually
not even noticing that you're stepping in fire ants, right?
Jellico is Starfleet, the Federation, and the crew is the Dominion in this case. I think, you know, where there's just all this change being thrown down on them in such a short time, when they're like, this is what I don't understand is like, as a captain coming in, like that would be brutal. I'm following Picard. My God, it should be Riker in the story, which is why they never promoted him. I don't understand either.
They wanted Jellico for this particular mission due to his familiarity with the Cardassians.
Yeah, but we never really Yeah, actually, we did see him,
and he does like manipulate the shit out of that Cardassian. Like,
almost when the Nixonian crazy man has his place, right?
Yeah.
But to you need that crew at its best, and I think that how he handled that, and especially knocking down Riker was the wrong thing to do. You've got now 2 officers on board this doing nothing. You've got Picard and Riker in his quarters.
And the problem is he ends up needing him. It would have been fine if he didn't need Riker, but then all of a sudden he needs him to fly a shuttle mission. It's like, shit. It was all going so well.
I love that scene where he comes in his quarters and he's looking around and he's like,
so good,
hitting his hands together. Oh, I see you playing the trombone.
Play an instrument, do you? Some contemporary or classical?
Just awkward. Like, everything about him was awkward, and he looked just a little bit unease with himself. Didn't look confident.
Oh man, he plays that scene so brilliantly.
Yes.
My favorite part.
But in some ways, it's also like it's two Type A personalities running into each other as well.
100%.
Because like if Picard had been the XO coming aboard that ship, I think Picard would have been grumbling and completely furious, but he would have done everything Jellico asked him to do almost immediately.
Like Data did.
He's got a different notion of like duty and independence and individuality, but like Riker's like an Alaskan's Ambo Jutsu player. He's all about where are we in this? I don't see you. Kabam! Right? Like that. I mean, that's all about, he's all about conquest in that sense. He's all about
and he's a jazz man. He's not about the rigidity that Jellico is.
Yes.
But he's also got an ego.
This is the Enterprise, man. We're jazzy as shit over here.
He's got an ego. And whether Jellico or not was the Cardassian expert, he would have liked to be in command.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was a little butthurt for sure. And and I think we can all agree he was being a bit of a snooty turd. Like,
get it done.
He didn't need to give the new captain quite the hard time he gave him immediately. It's just like he didn't really try very hard. Neither of them did. Is the thing. It's
a great depiction of the kind of organizational resistance you can come up against, right? Like just that inertia you run into.
Like, I'm in a new organization right now, being there now 4.5 months, where I'm leading the team. And this is, in my mind, I would go, this is what you don't do when you come into an organization. And
Yikes.
Oh my God.
You're doing fine, Adam.
Thank you. But I would never be, like I've got a picture of Ronnie Cox up here. I would never be him, like in that situation. My God. Good old Captain.
Oh, no. It's like, I've got the biggest pickle in the room, guys. Who wants to play?
This is where I actually would love to know some backstories about Star Trek. And I'd love to know how he became such a Cardassian expert. Like what happened along the way.
Could be in a novel. The novels fill in a lot of stuff like that.
Oh yeah. You know what? I'm going to go find it because I'd like to know more about him.
Yeah, I do believe there's a Jellico specific novel.
He cuts a fascinating picture as a captain that way. Yeah.
It's like, you know what, Dave, it's almost like he would have been a better specialist or advisor, or I don't know what the term is, but rather than taking command, it would have been better if he was told, if Riker was in command and he was told by some admiral that you got to listen to Jellico.
I don't think it would have worked.
Uh-huh.
I don't think
everything.
Wouldn't it be amazing if that had been their offer and he said, no, I command the Enterprise or I don't do it?
Yes. I think that's probably what happened. And, in this fictional world, because it wouldn't have worked actually. Like a lot of the things that Jellico does are by Starfleet standards, not the way they do things and kind of insane. Like to leave a Cardassian just like waiting for 2 hours just to piss them off. Like Starfleet doesn't do that. And they wouldn't and Riker never would have agreed to that. But that was super important in the grand scheme. So it's like they hired the right guy. He definitely knew how to work Cardassians.
But even his exit, like when maybe it's a little bit better, it wasn't even.
Yeah. Oh, he's a turd. He's still a turd. I don't like the guy. Like I would never have a beer with Jellico likely, but like he was the right guy to get that mission done.
He reminds me of a term that I used to hear, and in corporate speak, really, he's an axe man or whatever they call it, right? Like somebody who comes through who's just like who's going to hatchet man, right? Who's just going to get stuff done, and cut out all the excess and do the stuff. Not here to make friends, here to make things shipshape and keep on moving, right? And Jellico is the definition of I'm not here to make friends. But I think I wonder if he ends up being a very lonely captain in that regard. Lonely in a different way than Picard. Picard's just like so stuffy, and
they got along actually. Jellico and Picard, I think, liked each other and could probably.
This is where clearly he went on to do other great things because he was an admiral. So, like, what was it?
Yeah,
and that's where I'm gonna go find that book.
But that was a great thing. Like that mission itself, he saved the day there. Like he totally did.
Well, he averted another border war, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is huge at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. And he, made it to captain before that even. So I'm sure he has a good career.
I think that's why he's the captain that we all love to hate, right? Because he's so complicated. The only captain who is as gnarly as him in my mind in recent memory is Shaw, who is just such a deliberate turd. Like a consciously self-willed turd.
But you know what? I think I could work with a Captain Jellico. If I just need to know what my parameters are. I just need to know what I have to do, and I'm happy to do it. What I find is the fact that it's the speed.
He gave the parameters, but they didn't like 4 shifts. He gave the parameters.
Yeah, but okay, sorry. I think over time I would like to, work out.
Okay.
Not
yeah.
4 shifts.
Yeah, his transition management is not smooth.
No.
No. Take care of that, would you, Deanna? Dina, just call her Dina.
Oh, the last thing is when Data is promoted and he just follows him around like a dog and just like
it's kind of sad.
but he looks like he's enjoying it, like Data.
He really
does. He loves shit like that. He would love to follow Picard around like that.
and like,
what are you doing, Data? Get him up.
Like style. He goes like right to the department and yells at them and moves on to the next one.
My favorite scene in that is like Jellico scene in that is when he does ask Riker for his help. He's like, "Will you do the mission?" He's just like, "Well, just ask me or whatever." And he's just like, he asks him, he's like, "Will you do the mission?" He goes, "Yes." In the speed at which Jellico turns around and gets the hell out of that room. Like, by his age, it was lightning. Like he's
like, good.
I cannot get out of this room fast enough. Like, it's so funny. It's so well acted. That episode.
Ronnie Cox is a wonderful actor that way.
He really is.
Yeah.
Meant to play that character.
I was actually looking at what else he did here. I mean, he was also in Beverly Hills Cop, and he wasn't that quite as a dick. I remember that. He was a lieutenant or the captain or something on the force there.
It's true. He plays a bit of a hard ass really well.
Yeah. Yeah. But really, like for me, I'll never forget Dick Jones from RoboCop.
Dick Jones.
That's right.
Such a poor name. So, fellas, was it wrong for Captain Jellico to remove Commander Riker?
For me, it's a hard yes. I think it just caused too much disruption on an important mission.
Yeah, I think ultimately yes. He may have had him on procedure, but ultimately it's just a really rough move.
It was fast.
It's because the trouble is not that Riker wasn't being insubordinate. That's the issue, right? Like he definitely was within his rights to get him for insubordination, but whether that was actually yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, but it's like what Adam said too. It's like he was sort of stepping on Riker's traditional job, kind of.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
So he almost wanted to be captain and first officer.
Right. Like. You have second in command and the jobs are the jobs, and they're supposed to cover this. If things are going well with 3 shifts, then don't break it.
The shifts thing is so stupid. Like beyond that, he does okay. I feel like he did that just to see whose feathers would be ruffled and who was going to be a problem. And,
it's a micromanager moment for sure.
Yes, that other scene though. The other really funny scene was when Deanna brings the crew is having trouble adjusting. Maybe you should take some time, and the way he speaks to her, it's great.
I'd love to have a little song and dance honeymoon with the crew, but I don't have time for that, so I'll leave it in your capable hands.
That's right. Just throw the dirt. Oh, good episode.
To be fair, though, that's kind of her job, but she's not always the best at her job the way they write her. But, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm not always sure what to do with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it was fast. I will say, like, Data's clearly a better first officer for him. So I understand why he would want to do that in this short time frame mission as well. Like he probably looked at Data and it's just like, this guy's great. He knows everything. He's gonna follow me around like a puppy. It's what the first officer I've always wanted. But
it's just a little me.
Exactly. Data, I'm gonna call you Jellico Jr.
You remember the scene in the episode where Data becomes in command of one of the ships, and he has the first officer Hobson.
Yeah.
Mr. Hobson.
Just don't care.
He pulls out the Jellico there. Data does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he really does. That's true. That's interesting.
Jellico had an effect on Data.
That's a really interesting point.
Good point, Adam. That's why you're the host of this show.
Well, I had always attributed that outburst to the fact that he had developed the fighting subroutine for when he had a girlfriend on board. If you remember, right? And they have a big argument. He's like,
"Did he say he developed a fighting subroutine?"
Yeah, he developed an angry and fighting subroutine for when they were
that's
argument.
not a good subroutine.
But like, well, if this is a thing that we need to do to have a relationship, then if you're going to be mad, I'll fight my
She wanted to fight,
mad.
didn't she? She wanted to fight with him a little bit, right?
But I always attributed to that. But I think you're right. He would have been really stilted and the same as he was with her if it hadn't been for Jellico. Jellico actually shows him how to deploy that stuff in a certain weird way. That's fascinating.
And Data, he studies everything and learns from everything. And there's a time for Data is great because he can turn it on and off when he needs it.
And it's totally without judgment. You're right. Like he's going to study Jellico without any judgment at all.
Because
I kind of think I'm going to agree with you guys. It was wrong because I kind of think the better play for Jellico would have been just keep doing things your way. Because like I say, it's this position where he has to be comfortable in what he's doing. Keep doing things the way you got to do to complete this mission and not take the blame for if it fails. I feel like he could have just done that and see if like Riker got to a point where Riker just quit. Like, don't remove him for insubordination. See if he just bails rather than do what you're ordering him to do, and that's more of a black mark on Riker's record that way.
Sure. Yes.
And Riker wouldn't have. He just would have like stuck around and bitched the entire time because that's kind of more Riker style. He just would have complained, but like,
yeah, he can get bitter. That's for sure.
Yeah, he complained to Jean-Luc. He complained to Deanna. He complained to Guinan, and he probably ended up complaining to Wesley at some point.
But we'll shut up, Wesley.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good play. It was quick. It was too quick to just remove the first officer.
Yeah. So guys,
totally insubordinate. He totally embarrassed his captain, like verbally in front of the crew, which is not really the thing you should.
Riker was a dick. There's no question. However, he was pushed. All right. So guys, listen, we've gone over, but here, great to have this conversation with you. They always are very thought provoking. It's funny how we all come to the same side generally.
Well, that's why it's not an argument. It's the opposite of debate 9. If we wanted to disagree, we would just leave it over there.
That's true.
That's right.
And Dave, it wouldn't be an episode without you bringing in some philosopher from the past, which I completely enjoy.
There's never been an episode of Locutors of Trek where he hasn't done that as well.
No, I know.
That's why true. It's my pony. I have to bring out my one-trick pony.
Okay. So, as I always say, we should do this more frequently if we can do it, because there's so many things to talk about in the Star Trek.
Absolutely.
And there's a pretty hefty list of debates that we have not tackled on this show.
We could start creating our own, guys, just topics. So, I mean, if we
ever run out, which we probably won't, but yeah. Well, you can contact us at locutorsoftrek@gmail.com. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. And we are a proud part of the Swear to Pod Network. Any final words, gentlemen?
Great to see you both. Been too
You
long.
too, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank
It's
you.
been too long. And I suppose the final word? End transmission.
This program is a proud part of the Swear to Pod Network.